Welcome to your New Hampshire National Guard podcast. We are always ready, always there. This podcast series is a production of the State Public Affairs Office.
Hello, I'm Tech Sergeant Charles Johnston with Public Affairs. I'm joined today by Chief Master Sergeant Bill Bates, Military Personnel Management Officer with Headquarters Air Staff, and Master Sergeant Amanda Bates, Personnel Craftsman with the Joint Staff. Thank you both for joining the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Even though you work separately, you're both assigned to Joint Force Headquarters and you perform various personnel-related duties. We can start with you, Chief. How long have you been in the Guard? What's your background?
I've been in the Guard since 1985. Started as a jet engine mechanic and then transferred up to Headquarters in 2003 as a personnelist.
And Master Sergeant Bates, how long have you been in the military?
I actually joined in 2003. I started out as a medic, and then I transferred to personnel in 2012.
Personnelists, I imagine, I was talking to you before the show started. It's kind of one of those things that not everybody really appreciates, I think, all the time until maybe something doesn't quite get done right, and then it really highlights how important your job really is.
Yes. It's almost like everybody makes fun of a redneck until they break down, right? So if something's going wrong with your record, your pay, or anything like that, we're the number one person on their book to come look at or talk to try to get it corrected.
Same thing with your DEERS record, making sure your dependents are in that so that you have insurance, all sorts of different things. SGLI, if something was to happen, you want to make sure that your dependents are updated in that so that they get the money, the gratuities.
Yeah. It's anything that personnel related, as far as, if you aren't getting paid or if you get ready to retire and you go put your retirement in and then you find out that, oh, I don't have 20 years. Well, how come? And then you start looking at your points and for some reason you didn't get a good year because you didn't have enough points that year. But it could be just a system error. And we fix that. That's what we do. And then you can retire.
The amount of expertise that you have both amassed, I've witnessed it when I've drilled at the wing and here in Concord. And Master Sergeant Bates, you actually have developed a bit of a niche with DTS, the system that everyone uses to travel, to the extent that, you get calls from Army and Air personnel from all over the state for this.
I can get a phone call from a lot of the people that I work with, and I've kind of memorized the system that, not even being on the computer, I can walk them through either an authorization or a voucher. And I help out generals and on both sides, Air and Army, in both systems, organizations, and I do a lot in DTS.
DTS is supposed to be easy. It's not.
I literally walked into your office. A few weeks ago, and you were on the phone with a general from out of state, asking you for questions on their DTS. So you've developed that level of expertise where you're a go-to person for general officers. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can't, if you're not in the organization, you can't look them up. So it's hard to help somebody do a DTS authorization or even a voucher when you can't see what they're seeing. So having that knowledge and helps.
One of few people in the state that knows DTS. Even I don't know DTS. I hate it.
What are some of the challenges of the job? Hidden challenges people might not know exist for you.
I would say my Monday through Friday job is everybody's whatever their situation is the most important one. Not necessarily their urgency isn't mine, but that is always a challenge, trying to make sure that they're for promotions, they're getting promoted on time, or we're trying to push a record to make an officer, or whatever the case may be. It's that person's emergency, because we're like the liaison between the wing and the tag and NGB, so they go through us, and I'm a one-person shop at the moment.
So I actually worked on the CST for a short period of time as a personnelist / human resource NCO. So not just knowing Air Force personnel duties, a lot of them are the same on the Army side. We still have the SGLI, we still have the emergency record. It's done a different way. Their MOSs is equivalent to our AFSC. It's all kind of very similar, processing different things. So just having that background knowledge of Air Force personnel helped me when I worked with the Army.
I will say that the personnel career field, when you go into the personnel career field, you're taught a certain way of doing business, and it's very Air Force. So when you go to a personnel school, you learn Air Force, how to do personnel. When you come back and you just get to the Guard, a lot of the stuff you learned in school doesn't apply. And then when you come to headquarters, everything that you learn at the wing as personnelists doesn't apply, because it's all different. We are, my office is we're like an in between the wing and the tag when it comes to any personnel actions and NGB. Our job is to be the voice of the wing for the tag and NGB and other various agencies.
So in case our listeners didn't already deduce on their own that you're related, you are one of several father-daughter tandems in the Guard.
Yes, several. I also have a son, but he followed my maintenance footsteps.
What's that like? You work in the Guard, separately, but together. What's that been like?
I try to watch out for my kids to make sure that they're being played a fair, they're being treated fairly. But I sometimes have to back off to make sure that they make their own way too, right? Especially as a chief. I can't just walk up and say, hey, why are you doing that to her? Or why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you supporting her? And that kind of stuff. So you have to be cautious sometimes.
It's nice to have him always there too. When I graduated personnel tech school, I flew him down, and when I went up, he actually came up to the stage and gave me his personnel pin that he got when he graduated. So he's been there for me throughout my career, and he has been at almost every single milestone that I've had.
In the process of following in Dad's footsteps, you actually were both the same rank for a brief period of time, if I'm not mistaken. You were both Master Sergeants?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
It was actually funny because people would say, oh, Master Sergeant Bates, and we'd both turn and look at him, and he got senior and then chief. I'm trying to catch up.
So did you have to just pull time and grade status on her during that brief period, or did...
I do that all the time. I'm not Dad. I'm Chief Bates.
Master Sergeant Bates, Chief Master Sergeant Bates, both from the extremely important, sometimes underappreciated field of personnel management. I appreciate you both joining me on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to your New Hampshire National Guard podcast.
Breaker 19, Breaker 19.